Hey, don't book another trip without first hearing what our next guest has to say. Airline Weekly's Seth Kaplan has holiday travel tips that will save us all a lot of money. Seth, good to have you here.
Likewise, good to be here, Cindy.
Let's talk about the best time to book our travel. 6 weeks out, you say, is a good time to do it.
Yeah, you know, I think everybody knows that if you wait until the last minute to buy, you're going to pay a lot. That's obvious. But what not as many people realize is that the opposite of that is not exactly true. It's not the people who book many months before they fly who get the very best deal. The early bird doesn't always catch the cheap airline ticket. In fact, right, if you book around 6 weeks before, sometime between 1 month and 2 months before you travel, you'll probably pay less than the people who booked way out in advance.
And this applies to holiday time as well.
Holidays also. You know, there's a tendency to get nervous and say, hey, I better book way out in advance. But in fact, that's not the case. So right about now, you know, if you're thinking about Thanksgiving, probably a pretty good time to start looking for tickets, and you might want to book them in the next couple weeks. Christmas and New Year's, still a little too early. You'll probably save money if you wait another few weeks or a month.
So mark your calendar for when you should book.
And that's great advice, by the way. Do that. Just, hey, even if you know you're going somewhere special in 10 months, put it on your calendar. Forget about it. Book it then.
And you say shop online in the morning.
Yeah, even the time of day that you shop for tickets makes a difference. The reason is that some airlines allow people to hold tickets without buying them. So what happens is at about midnight at the airlines that do that, they release those tickets, what they call it, back into inventory. Basically, they put the product back in the shelf. It would be like calling a store asking them to put an item aside from you. If you don't buy it, they're going to put it back out there for other people. The same is true of airline tickets. So if you don't see a good fare at night, hop back online in the morning. It might be there for you.
And if you buy a ticket legally, within 24 hours, if you change your mind, they have to give you your money back, right?
That's a new rule, right, that airlines have to either let you hold the ticket for a day or they have to let you go ahead and get your money back within 24 hours. That's absolutely true.
Okay, now if you're going through a search engine like Priceline or Kayak or whatever, you have to remember that not all the airlines are included there in their searches, right, for tickets?
Exactly. So it's really more than ever, being an educated consumer makes a big difference, because there's not just one place to go. You know, in the old days, we went to a travel agent and said, hey, what's my best deal? And they told you. Now the answer might be different for different people. So right, even if you go to a place like kayak.com, as you mentioned, Google has their own travel site, search site now. Those searches search all the other searches, but they don't search Southwest, for example. So especially if you live in a place where Southwest is a big airline, goes to a lot of places, you want to make sure to search them directly as well.
Let's talk about doing your math first, because about checking bags, that can really increase the price of your flight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so your best deal, again, here depends on whether you're going to check bags or not. Imagine, for example, you're comparing, I don't know, Delta and JetBlue. Let's say JetBlue is $25 more expensive for the round trip. Well, are you checking a bag or not? Because Delta is going to charge you for the checked bag, unless you're a medallion with them, one of their elite flyers, and that might cost you an extra $50 round trip, whereas JetBlue's not. So if you're checking a bag, JetBlue might be the better deal, or Southwest, or an airline that doesn't charge. If you're not checking a bag, then that other airline might be the better deal for you.
You say volunteer to fly later sometimes if you've got that option.
Yeah, volunteering, right? It's something we should all do in our lives, but it can save us money at the airport. You know, if you think about it, you go to the airport and you want to get on a flight, right? Most people do, but some people show up at the airport hoping to not fly, not right away anyway, because they know that if their flight is oversold and you go up and say, hey, do you need any volunteers to fly later? You might get a free round trip ticket or some free few $100s worth of travel just for flying sometimes a couple hours later.
I bet some people do that all the time.
Absolutely.
Seth Kaplan, thank you very much. Really good advice.
Thank you.
All right, coming up on Daytime, the life of a makeup artist. We get the inside scoop on some famous faces right after the break. Don't go away.